winning proposal.
And now, thank you, Dr. Shantasiri. And now I would like to invite the chairman of the National Science Foundation, Dr. Sudat Samaravira, to talk on aligning research with national goals. And now, thank you, Dr. Shantasiri. And now I would like to invite the chairman of the
Very good morning to all of you. I wish that today's webinar will very fruitful and very informative discussion for you. In the meantime, that we are granting, we are awarding research grants for Sri Lankan researchers. It is not only in also in other research institutions and the private sector. Committed to research grants that you are eligible to apply, and but in this context that you have to keep in mind that the country that we are having a limited budget, that we are still that recovering from economic crisis. On top of that, that providing these research grants to Sri Lankan researchers. With this, that we have to prioritize and we have to use very optimally and maximally beneficial methodology in a beneficial way of this research throughout. So in this case, identifying your research, know that researchers will have their own research interests. They will have their own research problems that necessary to find a solution. But when multiple research come here, then we will have to apply some sort of priority basis to grant these research funds for you to, because we are having a limited budget, as I mentioned you at the. So in that case, that you have to be very sensitive and also very logical when we are choosing your research area and your research question. What is this? From the basic research, then the implementation research and tech, and then put in the research, some sort of research ideas into practice. So you can have this research grants that you can apply, but still that you have to go the national priorities. We are going with the government policies, the Thriving Nation, the government policy document that you can download from government websites. You have to be conversant with that. What are the things that is the most important research area? And also we will be granting money for basic research. There is no doubt for that, but competitive and very justifiable research question that you are addressing these on top. What is this basic research? Or what is your research question? How it will be and how it will be can be transformed into some sort of benefit to the national economy, national development in our country. So in that case, that you have to be very that you have to be very careful and also very have to be vigilant and also be concerned about that when you are how it will be applied into the country's development national goals very chance of getting the research grant as you applied. So I think that you all will be that taking into consideration all these things when uh, you are preparing your research. So with that, I think that you will be having more and more questions that are to be asked and to know about the research grants. And not only that, that we are having this, that we will be covering with the research that is will be that is conducted that is solely within the country, that through international collaborations, how research grants can be applied and how it will be supported by the National Science Foundation also will be discussed. So there will be a large scope and larger areas that will be covering with these research grants. So I think you will be having a very good understanding at the end of the session for you to apply for a successful research grant. I think that I will have my research division team to proceed with this, and I think all of you will have a fruitful discussion here.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have a presentation on the role of NSF landscape. This presentation will be made by Engineer Mahesh Disanayaka, Head of Research Division of the National Science Foundation.
Stop.
Good morning to all. So for the technical fault with the English delay. Yeah, okay. So myself, my Science Research Division, Science Foundation. So I'm talking about how National Science Foundation is supporting to research, innovation, and enterprise. That means, so we in National Science Foundation we not only support with our basic research, we support with the applied research and also technology development. And at the end, we will support to the enterprise, that is startups based on novel technologies. So from A to Z. So we have different grant schemes to support our researchers. And today we are talking about our main grant scheme called the Computer Research Grant Scheme, which was established in 1968. And also we are discussing about the our other grant scheme, International Collaborative Research Grant Scheme, where we implement that one to work our researchers to with other researchers in the other part of the world. I'm sure you know about National Science Foundation. So we are the premier granting body in the country, and we promote progressive advancement of the science, technology, and innovation ecosystem to ensure well-being of citizens of Sri Lanka. So we have a main 5 mandates. Out of main 5 mandates, there are 2 main mandates. First one is the research, development, and innovation and capacity building, and other one is the science popularization and promoting science. As I mentioned earlier, so we have a different grant scheme to support all these mandated actions. We have nearly 34 grant schemes. Out of that, nearly 14 grant schemes for R&D, research and development purpose. So when we think about our strategic support to our researchers, we have 5 main areas. First one is the basic and applied research. We support basic and applied research, as our chairman mentioned, and also we support capacity development of R&D workforce. So that is also very much important, because we know even though we have funds, even though we have equipment, we have to have a good workforce, R&D workforce. So then only we can have a good research output through their knowledge. So we support capacity building of R&D workforce. And also research infrastructure development. So that is, so if you want to publish our good research in the international journal, so they have to have a updated and also high-tech latest equipment for them to support their evidence. So that we are supporting research infrastructure development of our research laboratories, and also we are supporting innovation and entrepreneurship, because in our research, basically we are expecting knowledge creation. But as a country, as our chairman mentioned, we expect more than that, because we need to support our economy. So that we need to think about the commercialization aspect of our research. We can't end up with the knowledge creation. So that to support, we have innovation and entrepreneurship grant scheme with us. And the last, recognition of research and innovation excellence. As I mentioned, so we recognize, appreciate our researchers in the country, because we have a very less number of research in the country. As a count, we have nearly 2,000 full-time researchers in the country, so that we recognize their contribution to this R&D sector in the country. Without you, without these researchers, without the scientists, we can't go ahead with this R&D. So we recognize research and innovation excellence. So we are supporting our researchers in these 5 strategic areas. Through these 5 strategic areas. When we consider the basic and applied research, we have 5 main grant schemes this year. First one is the comparative research grant scheme, what we are going to talk today, and also second one is the international collaborative research grant program, and the third one is the gap filling research grant scheme. Gap filling research grant scheme is not the open for one; it is a invitation. So if our researchers, sponsored researchers, they end up with their research TRL level, 3 output, good output. So we will invite them to continue that research because we need the continuation of research. That's why we have a gap in research grant by invitation. And then we establish new grant scheme, support for industry-driven R&D grant scheme. That is basically because we know our researchers, they are doing research within the university or within the industries, within the research institute. But to translate this research output into applicable one, we need the industry, so we need the institute. So that we have to have a collaboration with industry plus our researchers. So that we initiate this support for industry-driven R&D, especially to promote triple release model. That is university, industry, and government. The government, National Science Foundation is there. We expect from our researchers and research institute, researchers in research institute and universities from other side, and then industry to collaborate with and get together and apply for this one. And then political scientist program, as I mentioned earlier, we have a limited number of researchers in the country. We need to create a research culture in the country because sometimes we will have researchers, but even the person who pass out from the university who has to have a research interest with him, then only when he go to the industry or any sector, he start research. Even he's doing some other work, he will do some research for improvement of his work. So that's why we initiate the future scientist program. That is a proposed program, and we are going to initiate in this year, targeting undergraduate students in universities. And when we come to the innovation and entrepreneurship, we have 2 grant schemes. One is called Technology Development Grant Scheme. Other one is called Startup Grant Scheme based on novel technologies. So Technology Grant Scheme, that is basically what we expected. If we have good output, tier level 4 output from our research, so they can apply the technology developer so that he can develop his technology from tier level 4 to tier level 7. So that's what we expected. We need to target the commercialization. So in that case, in that journey, we need to develop our lab scale output to commercial level so that we are supporting to the technology development grant scheme. And then startup grant scheme, that is basically if we have developed technology at tier level 8 or 9, so we will consider that one and we support that researcher, we support that industry to start a business based on that novel technologies. So in that case, there's a 2 ways for commercialization. One is for the researcher can do himself start business based on his findings. So that startup also we can support. Other one is that the researchers can't do business sometimes. Then he can license in that one. He can give that technology to some industries. So that industry can start the business from that one. In those 2 cases, we are supporting either researcher we can support or we can support the industries to start their new business based on novel technologies through this startup grant scheme. And then we have a research scholarship. There is also one and only grant scheme in the country. So we are targeting our just pass out student. This part of student is graduates. We are targeting graduates. So if the graduates are interested to do MPhil or PhDs, So we are giving that scholarship grant scheme, scholarships for them to do their MPhil or PhD. So in that case, we are targeting future scientists because if we need to have more scientists in the country, we need to create more MPhils and more PhDs. So that's why we have established this research scholarship grant scheme. Through that, we will support them to do their MPhil or PhDs. And also, we have a postdoctoral research fellowship. That is basically, if you have completed your PhDs within the last 2 years, you can apply to any research grant from NSF as a postdoc research. So we will supporting that one also. And then research infrastructure development, we have two research equipment grant scheme. One is research equipment grant scheme. If some researchers they need, or university or research institute, if they need some research equipment for their research, they can apply to our research grant scheme, equipment grant scheme. And also, we are supporting if you have a research equipment, but sometimes there may be some spare part malfunctioning. So you can apply that spare parts for research equipment under spare part grant scheme. So that is also possible because we need to maintain our research equipment in a good condition to have do our research. So that's why we have a two grant scheme targeting to do research equipment or to do spare parts to maintain the research equipment in a good condition. And the final is the recognition of research and innovation excellence. That is, we have research awards and also technology awards. So those are basically for those research conducted by researchers through NSF sponsored research, NSF funded research. So we are appreciate, admire, and recognize their excellent contribution to the R&D sector in the country. And also we have a support scheme for submission of research degrees. That is basically we are appreciate the contribution of our supervisors. Those who are supposed to our students to do their MPhils and PhDs, and if they have completed their MPhils and PhDs in distributed time period, so we will recognize their contribution of our supervisors and about this grant scheme. So these are the basically grant scheme conducted in this year. And when you come to the what we expected this grant scheme, computer research grant scheme, we expected at least PR level 3 output. And now grant scheme is already over and it will close on June 1st this year. And then future scientist research grant scheme, we are going to open it in July, August this year. And internal collaborative research program, we are going to have two internal collaborative research programs. One is general, that is we will open in maybe July, August. So in that internal collaborative research grant program general, we will expect our researchers will get together with some researchers from outside the country, and they can submit a proposal to us. So we will support to the Sri Lankan component of that research. So they can, if you have any collaboration or MOU with some other universities in the other part of the world, so you can get together with them, you can propose a joint research, and we will support your part in Sri Lanka. So we expected at least we have level 3 output. And then internal collaborative research program, that is special one. We have one program, National Science Foundation of Sri Lanka and Pakistan Science Foundation. So that is open now. It will be closed in 23rd June 2026. And then Gaping research grant, so we expected at least TRL level 6 output through this grant scheme, and it is on invitation. And industry collaborative research grant program, so this is also we expected at least TRL level 3 output, and hope to start, hope to open in June, July this year. And we have other two grant schemes, technical development and startup grant scheme. So we have already opened those two grant schemes, and it is open throughout the year. You can submit to a proposal at any time for these grant schemes.
Recording stopped.
And then capacity building. So research dispersal grant scheme is already open. It will close on 18th May. Next week it will close on. And postdoctoral research fellowship grant scheme is already open, and it is also open throughout the year. You can apply at any time for this grant scheme. Research equipment grant scheme we will open this month soon. That one, and spare part for research equipment grant scheme that will be open in not March, most probably in August.
Recording in
year.
progress.
So I need to emphasize that we are not only supporting to the government universities and government research institute, we are supporting non-state sector also, non-state sector universities, non-state sector even research institute, and also we are supporting industries and MSMEs, and also individual inventors also. So all these are our stakeholders, so we are supporting them, but we have different formulas to support these people. If it is a state sector, just like the universities and research institute, we are supporting 100% for their research. But if it is a non-state sector, for example, if it is an industry or some company, so we will support up to 70%. So they will have to bear 30% from their side. NSF for Sri Lanka will support up to 70%. Even individual person who is an inventor or who has some freelance working person, he also can apply to us. We will support him also up to 70% from his budget. He has to bear minimum 30% from his budget. So that is our formula for other sectors. And in R&D sector in the country, so we have seen these three missing or missing elements in the sector. That is, one is lack of research continuation. So other one is a lack of partnership in research. Other one is a lack of effective technology transfer. So these three things we, as a government, we are expecting through our research. NSF also we are expecting research continuation. So that's why we are introducing lab to market model to support you to continue the research. Starting from the basic research, you can go to mission oriented or applied research, and then technology development, and at last you can start your own business through our startup grant scheme. So if you start with the computer research, basic research, we will support to your research, and if you need to do applied research through that one, we will support you to from our next grant, vacuum grant, through that vacuum grant, to continue your research. And if you have a good output from that research, then you can apply to our technology grant. So we will support from that grant. And if you have a fine technology to initiate a business, so we will support you to start your own business through startup grants. At least you can take a program from us, and you can continue your research from basic research to the ultimately commercialization. So that is what we expect. And other thing is that lack of partnerships in the research. So that's why we are initiating this research, industry-driven research and industry-driven research and development program, because we expect that our researchers will join with industry, and they will do the research, and it will translate to the our needs of the industries. So that's why that's what we expected. Even in this grant schemes also, in some grants, we have some mandatory part of industry people. Another thing is that we need to transfer our technologies, what we develop through our technologies to the people. So that's why we initiate research into practice program. Whatever technology is developed by yourself, we will invite all the stakeholders, related stakeholders, and we can transfer the technology beyond stakeholders. Another thing is that when you are planning your research also, if it's a research relevant to some sector, for example, if it is a health sector, you can go in with the for development authority. If it is a water sector, you can go in with the Department of Irrigation. If it is agriculture, you can join with some agriculture industries, and you can propose some research through that, so that you can translate your research output into a valuable output. And at last, what National Science Foundation want to emphasize to our researchers, we always appreciate and admire your work, and we are here to support you from, as I mentioned, from starting from TRL 1 to TRL 9, and as a government institute, there are so many value of debt, technical value of debt, commercialization value of debt, property value of debt, so each value of debt. So we are in a serious situation. We as an institute, we are always always ready to support to you, and ultimately contribute to the development of our countries. So we know that these countries like even Singapore, South Korea, so these countries have developed up to this level within very short time period. Even they have below us in their economies at the time of 1950s. They are now in the head compared to our countries. So that if you have good research culture, and if you do good research means research with good output to do a commercialization, to support our policies, to support our industries, so that we can develop our countries. So that as a National Science Foundation, we are granting to in the country, we are always support your effort to do this one. At last, I appreciate your all hard work to do this research and your interest to do this research. Thank you very much.
Right. Once again, good morning. I will now talk to you about the competitive research grants and the ICRP grant. I will first make presentation, and the time permits, I will show you the grant application also. Now, the previous speaker, Engineer Disanayaka, explained about the research, the grant schemes that we have at NSF. Now, I will be focusing on two of those grant schemes, the competitive research grants and the international collaborative research grants. Now, the CRG or the competitive research grants has been implemented to provide assistance to supplement resources available at your own institution, so directed towards the socio-economic development of the country. And we also encourage researchers to utilize your own knowledge to carry out research of high quality. And grants will be awarded in all fields of science, including social sciences. Who are eligible to apply for the competitive research grant scheme? You have to be citizens of Sri Lanka, residing in Sri Lanka, and also you have to register with the STMIS database of NSF. You can find the link in our website, and you can register to this database. And then you have to be a permanent employee of a university or research institution. It can be a state university or a private university, but you have to be permanent employees.
if you are on contract, then you have to mention the contract period in our grant application. Then the principal investigator needs to have a postgraduate research degree and publications or patents in the relevant area. And if you are if you are going to read for your own MPhil or PhD, then you are not eligible to be the principal investigator or co-investigator. You can only be a student in the grant application. We encourage early career researchers, meaning those who are less than 40 years of age and within 4 years of obtaining your postgraduate degree, and researchers from underrepresented universities. But that does not mean that we don't give grants to other scientists. No, we do. We are just encouraging these early career and underrepresented university researchers. We would like to see more applications from you. And priority will be given to research projects with high economic impact and or social benefits. When it comes to international collaborative research programs, we support Sri Lankan institutions to develop collaborative relationships in research with foreign institutions. This is to facilitate knowledge, skill development, technology transfer, and science communication internationally. And at the moment, we have the NSF PSF, Pakistan Science Foundation Collaborative Research Program. Here in the ICRP, there has to be a local principal investigator and a principal investigator or an international collaborator from the collaborating country. And you have to prepare a joint proposal and submit individually to both the institutions, meaning that the scientists in Sri Lanka has to submit the grant application to us, whereas the Pakistan collaborator has to submit their grant application to PSF. But identifying an international collaborator and preparing the joint proposal is a responsibility of the principal investigator. NSF will not involve in identifying collaborators. This grant call 2026 NSF PSF joint call, the duration of the grant is 2 years and the funding limit is USD 26,000 on each side. So the Sri Lankan component will have a maximum budget limit of USD 26,000. There are 5, the grant applications are called under 5 areas as given here: environment and climate change, herbal medicine, biotechnology and yield improvement, engineering and material sciences, artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, smart agriculture and value addition. And this grant call is open till 23rd of June. 23rd of June. Now, before you fill grant applications, here I will, from here onwards, I will talk about the filling the grant application in relation to both grant schemes. So, before filling the grant application, you have to find out the research priorities here, the NSF. So, at each call, we will publish the priorities that we are funding. Then you have to identify a research question based on the priority that you choose. Then you do a thorough literature search and build a strong research team. Then you have to develop the project objectives and identify what the studies and what it will entail. You have to have discussions with the co-investigators, collaborators, and everyone. And sometimes in some studies, you might need to do a pilot study with a small number of samples before going on to the larger study. There's a famous saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. So always remember, you have to plan carefully before you submit a grant application. Now, if I talk about the tips for securing a research grant, you have to remember that grants are competitions. You have to compete with all the other applicants to get your grant fund, your research funded. So your goal should be to convince that your research is important and you are capable of carrying out that particular research. Not just inform, you have to convince us. And as I mentioned earlier, you have to think about the research priorities. So if your research has a high economic impact or social benefit, then you have a high chance of getting your research funded. Also, you have to build a strong multidisciplinary research team. So if your proposal is addressing interdisciplinary problem, then you have to include experts from each relevant discipline. When you are developing a high quality research proposals, these are some of the points that you have to give attention to. Think the components that come in the research grant application. You have to always follow the guidelines given. So read the guidelines several times because we find that some of you do not read the guidelines carefully and don't comply to them. So read the guidelines several times, and then you have to have a clear research plan. And in your research, when you develop your research plan and submit the proposal, you have to highlight the novelty and relevance of your research proposals. Because if it is a novel concept that you are trying to research, then you have higher chance of getting your proposal funded. And regarding the literature review, it has to be a comprehensive literature review. Be sure to do the literature review in regarding international literature as well as local literature, and also attach the reference list. Then talking about objectives, the objectives have to be SMART. They have to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And sometimes we have seen that these proposals are now more and more being developed through AI. It's okay to use AI in certain components of the application, but then when you're doing the objectives, you have to not just copy what you get from AI. Because last time even we saw that there were some applications which had 15, 20 specific objectives. And now the grant is given only up to 3 years. So you cannot achieve 20 objectives in just 3 years. So you have to be smart in developing your objectives. Then next, the methodology. There you have to give details, and the methodology should match the objectives. Because sometimes if you have like say 5 objectives, and if the methodology is given only to the first 3 objectives, then the reviewers will point that out. So make sure that your methodology covers all the objectives and give enough details so that a scientist in that same area can understand what you are going to do. Because there are issues of plagiarism and such things, and sometimes you don't want to reveal everything. It's okay, but make sure that enough details are provided that the scientific merit of your proposal can be gauged by the methodology given. And then the timeline, the Gantt chart. We have given a format for that. So follow that Gantt chart format and show the activities, time frames, and the KPIs in that. Then ethical and regulatory compliance. So if ethical clearance is needed for your research, you must apply for it early. and then submit ethical clearance at least 1 month after the deadline of the grant applications. In previous years, we were very lenient on that, but now we will strictly look for the ethical clearance when you apply, or within at least 1 or 2 months, you must submit the ethical clearance. Talking about the budget, you have to with the activities, you have to justify the expenses, and the budget has to be realistic. Now, I told you the ICRP, the budget limit is USD 26,000. Don't prepare the budget up to that limit without the budget being realistic. Just don't look at the limit and prepare the budget. When you're preparing the budget, be realistic and align the budget with the activities of your proposal. Then the expected outcomes, the deliverables have to be tied to national benefits. Also, we expect at least a minimum of 2 research articles in pretext journals at the end of your project. You also have to outline how results which reach the stakeholders, the policymakers, industry, or the community. So all in all, you have to demonstrate the feasibility of your proposal and the value for money. That will make the final decision on whether your proposal is being funded or not. Now, funding will be provided under these budget modes. Personnel, equipment, consumables, outsourcing services, local travel and subsistence, postgraduate registration, and miscellaneous. Under personnel mode, you can request funds for the research assistants, technical assistants, or the laborers. Under equipment, this is not the equipment grant, this is the equipment mode under the competitive or the ICRP grants. There, the equipment quote should be less than 1 million, and it should not exceed 50% of the total budget. So it has to be less than 50% of the total budget and less than 1 million. Consumables, you have to properly justify and itemize. Outsourcing services, you can request funds for outsourcing services such as sample analysis, statistical analysis, etc. Local travel and subsistence, this is only for field visit for sample collection. We have provided the rates for travel, that is 40 rupees per kilometer, and subsistence rates are given in the application. Then postgraduate registration. So if it's a PhD, registration will be provided for 3 years. If it's an MPhil, registration is provided for 2 years. And then under miscellaneous, it has to be less than 10% of the total budget. Right. And then funding is not provided for administrative costs, maintaining equipment. This has to be borne by your hosting institution. Computers and printers for routine work, travel abroad. Registration fees for overseas conferences or seminars are not provided, but registration fees for local conferences or seminars can be requested under miscellaneous. Then travel to NSF or the co-wise institutions for meeting is not provided. Travel is only provided for field visit for sample collection. Then drivers, OT and subsistence, payments for thesis, defense panel, contingencies on unforeseen expenses are not provided. Okay, now you have prepared your proposal and submitted the application to NSF. Now, what will happen at NSF? This is the process that your application will go through. So there will be an initial screening step, and then an independent expert review, then the working committee review, the research advisory committee review, and the board of management approval. So each application that you submit will go through this whole process before the proposal is accepted for funding. So at initial screening, what will happen? These are the initial screening criteria. Your application has to be in the NSF format, and it has to be according to the guidelines. I emphasized earlier also, you have to read the guidelines several times. All the calculations, everything has to be according to the guidelines. Then the principal investigators and co-investigators eligibility. I mentioned that previously also in the application, we have given all the eligibility criteria. Then you have to get the signatures of all investigators and also, all the investigators. So don't wait until the last minute to get the signatures and then call us and say we will be extending, we cannot get the signatures of so and so. So get the signatures of all the investigators, and the application has to be forwarded through the proper channels, meaning if you are a university academic, your grant application has to go through the head of the department, dean, and the vice chancellor before submitting to us. If it's other research institution or another organization, it has to come through the head of the institution. Then the literature review and the reference list. Sometimes the review is missing or sometimes the reference list is missing. Make sure that you have everything in the application. Then the complete application, which means that the required information is provided, because you have to attach the series of all investigators. Then if you have collaborators, then we have a format for their consent. You have to attach that. Then the Gantt chart, the consumables list and quantity and cost. Then the detailed methodology. All these items have to be attached or included into your application. And then the important initial screening criteria is the budget. You have to give the total budget. It has to be within the limit that we have announced. For completing research grants, there is no limit. But if you are a first-time applicant, it can be to NSF or to any other funding agency. If you have not got a previous grant from any funding organization, you are considered as a first-timer. Then there is a budget limit of 3 million, excluding the personal vote. Excluding the personal vote, it will be 3 million. Then it has to be according to the guidelines, because for certain awards there are certain guidelines, so you have to carefully read and follow those guidelines. And this is according to the limit for first time. So if you are first time, you have to be in accordance with the limit. Then make sure that the calculations are correct. Because we find a lot of the time the calculations are not correct. Go through your budget several times, make sure the calculations are correct, that the total budget is correct, and you have to provide justification for each vote. So if you request an equipment, you have to justify why you want it. If you request outsourcing services, you have to justify why you are requesting funds under that particular vote. So make sure all these criteria, you have met all these criteria, because if one of these criteria are not met, then your application will be rejected at initial screening. This is a graph of what happened last year. Last year's grant call, there were 35 applications that were rejected at initial screening, and these were the reasons that they were rejected. Some applications had several of these criteria missing. So you can see the budget is the highest. 25 applications, the budget, there were errors in the budget. So make sure that you carefully go through the budget and stick to the guidelines and prepare your budget. Then after the initial screening, if you go through the initial screening and successful, and then it goes to the independent expert review step. where it is a double-blind review process, and each application will be reviewed by 2 experts. The main review criteria that the external reviewers will look at is the scientific merit of your proposal. So that's why I said that when you prepare the application in the methodology, give enough details to judge the scientific merit. So scientific merit will be the main criteria. Then they will look at the innovation potential, the novelty of your proposal, the feasibility of carrying out the proposal in the time period and within the budget that you have mentioned. They will also look at the budget, what you have requested, whether it is justifiable, and then the expected economic or the social benefits. So these criteria will be the main review criteria that your grant application will be reviewed by the external reviewers. External reviewers will not know who the application is from. They will only judge on these criteria. After the external review, it goes to the working committees. We have 7 working committees under these disciplines. So your application will go to the relevant working committee. I have given here a chart of the grant application distribution last time. The highest number of applications came for basic sciences, followed by health science and engineering. This is just for the information. Then, so now after the working committee and then the research advisory committee, excuse me, they will look at your proposal based on these criteria mainly. They will look at the comments of the 2 external reviewers. So the external reviewers will give their recommendation and comments. So the committees will go through the comments of both reviewers, and then they will look at the project team. So as I mentioned earlier, it's important that you, if your research is an interdisciplinary research, make sure that you have the investigators or collaborators from all the disciplines involved. They will look at that, and also the track record and the experience, the expertise of the team. Now, at the external review stage, they will not know who the team is, but at the committee review stages, they will look at your team. So their track record and their expertise, you have to put in the application the expertise that you will, each of the team members will be providing for this proposed research. So all that will be looked at by the committees, and then they will also look at the budget in detail and the national importance of your the output and the outcome of your research. So potential scientific, economic, and societal impact of the research results will be looked at. The potential to transfer knowledge or commercialize will be looked at, and the contribution of proposed research to public policy. So any of these outputs and outcomes will be looked at by the committees, and they will look for value for money, as I mentioned earlier. So after after the external review, the working committee review, and the research advisory committee review, they will go to the board of management and for the final decision on funding. So this is the outcome of the competitive research grant applications last year. Here you can see 16% were rejected at initial screening. So it's very important that you follow the guidelines and prepare the budget and attach all the necessary documentation, everything, because otherwise your application will be rejected at initial screening and it will not go through the review process. So last year, 16% were rejected at initial screening. And then 19% were successful in getting the grant. 2% were withdrawn due to certain reasons. And then 17% were not recommended, but 46% needed revision. So if now we send the comments for you to revise your application. So if you wish, you can revise and resubmit at the next call. So what constitutes a good research proposal? The need for the proposed research is clearly established. You have to show that your research is needed for the country. And then the objectives are clear and achievable. The methodology is aligned with the objectives. Budget is aligned with the methodology. Feasibility is clearly shown. Then you have the adherence to the given format and the guidelines, and the outcomes are identified and properly mapped. So before submitting the application, in summary, you have to check the guidelines. Again, I'm stressing on this very much because however much we tell you, some of you will not look at the guidelines properly. Check the guidelines, check the budget calculations, and attach additional information. Then get all the signatures and keep to the deadline. So you have to now, these are the two deadlines. Competitive research grants, the deadline is 1st of June, midnight of 1st of June. And then NSF PSF joint call is 23rd June, that is also midnight. So submit your applications before the deadline. And be careful, there are subtle differences between the two grant applications. So make sure that you fill the correct application. Also, I must mention that the competitive research grants has two applications, one for the state sector and one for the non-state sector. If the PI is from a state university or an organization, you can use the state application for state organizations. If the PI is from a non-state institution, then you can use the non-state grant application. So make sure that you fill the correct application, and also pay attention to these things. And now I will show you the grant application. You can go to the grant application. Just there's a this is the grant application. There's a slight modifications in the grant applications from last time if you have applied previously. See here, now you have to indicate whether this your proposal is new or you is a revised and resubmitted from the last call. So initial here you have to give the your principal investigator and the 4 investigators information. You have to, if you are on contract, then you have to mention the duration of your contract period. Then you have to give the 5 most recent most grants that the PI had received as the principal investigator or co-investigator, the grant record, and then the co-investigators. Here we in the grant application we have given space for 3 co-investigators, but if you have any more, then you can copy paste and the sections and include more co-investigators. If there are collaborators, then you can provide their details here, and also in the annex 1, we have given a letter format for the collaborator to sign, and you have to attach that to the application. Then you have to give the percentage that the PIs and the co-Is can contribute to this project, but we expect the PI to dedicate a minimum of 20% of their time for this project. Then you have to provide the administrative institutions. Administrative institution means where the funds will be going. It is most of the time the institution of the PI. Then there is the main institution where the main part of the research will be carried out, and you can also list out other institutions involved. Then the section B, you have to, you do not give any names of the project team, because this part is what will go to the external review for the double blind evaluation. So for CRG, these are the areas, priority areas that we have given this time. This is according to the government policy document. Then you have to give the title. So remember, this title gives the first impression. You have to clearly indicate what you intend to do. But it has to be concise and not overly ambitious, not misleading. It should be able to create curiosity and interest in the reader, because this is the first taste of your research that the evaluator will get. Then the time duration, it can be from 1 year to 3 years. This is for CRG, but for the ICRP, the grant is up to a maximum of only 2 years. You have to mention the total budget here. The overall aim, it has to be a broad statement indicating the general purpose of the research project. Then you can give the as I mentioned earlier, these cannot come from AI generated documents because the reviewers will surely pick on those things. Then the executive summary, it has to be less than 250 words. This the next section is the details of your research. You have to define your problem, but be brief here. And then the literature review. I have highlighted here the word comprehensive. Make sure it's a comprehensive literature review. In the international arena, the local, and also the reference list. Make sure you fill all everything. Then the specific objectives, as I mentioned, it has to be SMART objectives, very specific and brief, and manageable number of objectives. Then provide a detailed methodology. I've given here detailed enough to evaluate the scientific merit of your project. You can give details under each of these subheadings. In the methodology, you can mention the experimental designs, study sites, study groups and controls, data and sample collection, sample size calculations, validation and quality control, etc. So where relevant, provide all these details. Also, you can provide details under these sections that we asked. Then there's a research need authorization. This is ethical clearance and other authorizations. So if it's relevant, you have to mark it, and then if you have received, you can attach the evidence. If not, then indicate here. Also, if your research needs permission from authorities such as the Department of Wildlife, Forest Department, Central Environment Authority, etc., you can mention here. And if now even the competitive research grants can have foreign collaborators. It's okay to have foreign collaborators. Actually, we would encourage that also. So if there are any material transfer agreements and all that, then you have to indicate here. The work plan, it's given as Annex 3, so you can fill that. Then the output and outcome. So you can, in point 4, mention the expected research findings here. We also expect a minimum of 2 articles in index journal at the end of the project. You can also tick any of these relevant outcomes and how your research contribute to national development, SDG goals, and so on. Here the financial information. So if you have already got funding for part of your research, you can mention here. Or if you are expecting to apply for a part of that from another funding agency, you can also mention here. So this is the budget summary. Here we have this time included a Excel, embedded an Excel format here. So when you fill in these sections, these will be automatically calculated. So these are the votes I showed you earlier also. So here we give some guidelines on how the principal investigators can have students and all that. And you have to provide details of if you're asking for research students, how many and what, if they are registered or not, and all this. Then the equipment, you have to fill out this, and you have to justify why each of these equipment you requested. And the consumables are also you have to give itemize and also give justification. Then outsourcing services, local travel and subsistence, and postgraduate registration and miscellaneous. Right, and now section C is where the signatures are needed. Here, these are the, if you have equipment or other facilities available at your institution, you have to provide details that what you will be using. So you can mention the equipment and I have mentioned here NID reference number. That means if you click here, it will go to the National Instrument Database at NSF. So your the equipment that you will be using here needs to be included into the National Instrument Database. Then the principal investigator and the co-investigators have to sign here. And if you are from the principal investigator is from a university, then your application need to go to the head of the department, dean of faculty and vice chancellor. If you are from another organization other than a university, a research institution or somewhere, then it has to go through the head of the institution or that organization. This section is for co-investigators. So for co-investigators, for each co-investigator, the head of the department, if it's a university, or if it's another institution, research institution or other institution, then head of the institution needs to sign for each of the co-investigators. This is the collaborators consent letter. So if you have any foreign or a local collaborator, then you can get their signatures and attach this to the grant application. If you have an industry collaborator, then you can provide details here, how they are contributing, whether they are contributing by kind or by cash. Then this is the work plan. So for each specific objectives, you can list out the activities and the time for each of those activities, and also give the key performance indicators. So you have to stick to our format when submitting the Gantt chart. These are the rates of payment. So go through this when you are preparing the budget. That's all. What is different in the non-state sector application is that the non-state sector institution needs to bear a minimum of 30% of the budget. So you can either get their consent to provide funding for particular votes or a part of certain votes. However, the total has to come to 30% of the total budget. And the Pakistan's the NSF PSF grants call, there's a section where you need to include the objectives of the Pakistan component and a brief description what they are going to do, and also the the justification for this collaboration. That's all. So now, if you have any if you have any queries, we'll be happy to answer your questions.
Good morning. This is Dr. Niranjala Nanakara, and thank you for the valuable presentation. Is there any possibility to take a copy of this presentation in order to have a better guideline for the application? The next thing, if there is any postdoctoral student in this phenomena, is a research grant. How about the research grant allocated to a postdoctoral researcher?
Dr. Angela, there is no question to the postdoctoral researcher to inside our research grant scheme. So we have only research student and technical assistants. So student can do his MPhil or PhD through that research. So if it is a postdoctoral researcher, he need to apply a postdoctoral research fellowship grant scheme. So that is a separate grant scheme.
We have a question from Iran Munasinga. For MSF, PSF joint fund, is it mandatory to have an MOU with the international collaborator? So since this is, we have an MOU with PSF, so for this particular call, you don't need to have a separate MOU with the collaborator. The next question, I'm a PhD candidate. Can my principal supervisor apply for the grant application on my behalf? Yes, your supervisor, because the completing research grant is given to principal investigators who are permanent staff in the institution. So your supervisor can apply for the grant. There is another question by meaning the applicant has to be permanent employee of the university, that refers to the principal investigator needs to be a permanent employee of an institution. The others members do not need. How long it will take to process and accept a grant proposal?
Yeah, actually, as Dr. Vinoka mentioned in his presentation, we have a process, standard process, review process is there, so that we require minimum 4 months to complete this process. But we are sending our research proposal to the outside reviewers, client review process, so that sometimes we expected 2 weeks. We'll get back 2 weeks, but sometimes we get 1 month, 1.5 months. At that time, it will go to the at least 6 months for processing time, minimum 6 months.
Next question. Could you please let us know, for a PhD student in a state university, what should be the application submission channel? I mean, through supervisor, post coordinated index. For the completing research grant scheme, a PhD student cannot apply.
A PhD student can apply to our research exclusive grant scheme. So if you need some funding for their post registration and then research and also some research expenses, so you can apply our PhD research exclusive program, not for the CRG.
Jayani Sudhasinghe, she is asking whether the PSF application is different to the NSF application. Is a way to access? Actually, the two application processes at PSF and NSF are totally independent. What you have to do is prepare the joint research proposal with the PSF, the Pakistani collaborator, and then to NSF grant application and submit to us. The PSF, the Pakistani researcher will submit to PSF. That format we also don't know, because the two grant application processors are totally independent. So we will review the Sri Lankan component and make the decision, get the recommendation from our committees, and then once the Pakistan side also does the same, we will have a joint meeting and select the best proposals from both sides and come to an agreement and fund. So you don't need to submit to there. For the CRG grant, whether we can collaborate with the foreign university without any. No, CRG. Yeah, if you have a foreign collaborator, if they give the consent in that collaborator's consent, then that will be enough. But if you are sending samples or something, then you will need to have the material transfer agreement and.
And other thing is that if there's anything IP rights related things are better to have some MOU or any understanding between you and the foreign collaborator. So in that case.
If the PI is from a state institute, is it necessary the PI should be postgraduate degree holder with this?
Yes, PI should have at least MPhil.
MSc with research. Yeah. But if not, then they can come in as collaborators. Yeah. Is it necessary to be a permanent employee for a postdoc to submit the grant?
No, you can, for example, if you are working with some university, so you can send us a proposal.
For the PDR.
Yeah, for the PDR, not for the CRD, postdoctoral research fellowship. You can send a proposal as a researcher, so that you don't need any permanent position, but you have to work with some postgraduate institute or university or with industry. You have to show us that you have permanent place to do your research. Otherwise, no need the permanent position. Actually, we have designed this postdoctoral research fellowship program to support our recently PhD holders, even if we don't have a permanent job. So during that time, they can apply to us.
Asking for the total budget allocation for ICRP. It's USD 26,000.
It's a USD 26,000 equivalent in Sri Lankan rupees from Sri Lankan side.
Excuse me. So I'm the one who asked that question. I was referring to the other, not the Pakistan joint one, but the other one which is yet to be called. So is it the same USD 26,000?
No.
ICRP gender call.
Yes.
ICRP. Yes, no, actually in that there's no limit.
So limit, but you need to have an invoice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You need to
Okay.
but there is no limit. So if you
Right.
can justify your budget, so we'll accept it.
So it is up to 3 years, is it?
That is up to 2 years. There is
Yeah.
also it's no time, time period limit. It's only for the NSF, PSF, we have a 2 year. Because that is
Okay.
actually we commonly agreed in initial stage.
Thank you so much.
Someone from Pakistan is asking whether can PI submit multiple proposals?
Yes, PIs can submit multiple proposals. For Sri Lanka side, Sri Lankan scientists need to submit. From the Pakistan side, Pakistan scientists should submit to the PSF. But at the time of evaluation, so we will do one grant.
Is the USD 26,000 budget only for Sri Lankan partner or for both partners?
Only Sri Lankan.
Yeah, so
From Pakistan side, they will 26,000 US dollars equivalent Pakistan rupees.
so both sides, 26,000 USD will be granted.
Granted.
If
Separately.
For non-state applicants, it was mentioned that only 50 to 70% of the budget will be funded. Under this guideline, how much of the total budget is eligible for funding in NSF PSF call for a non-state research institute? So same.
Yes, sorry.
So same. The non-state institution should bear a minimum of
20% from the 26,000 USDs.
30% of the
26,000 USDs.
Yes, here they ask, can we initiate collaborations with another country other than Pakistan for the ICRP? What are the conditions? So this comes under ICRP general call. We had not yet opened the call, but after we do that, you can submit applications collaborating with any other country. The condition would be that you will need to have an MOU.
So we have an MOU with your partner in other country, and also we are supporting your expenses.
Yes.
They have to confirm from their side. They will their cost. So we need a confirmation from their side also.
May I know what are the conditions in collaborating with an international university for CRT grant? You need to get their consent, and if there are any IP related things or any material transfer, then you need to have agreements on those things. Other than that, their consent is enough. How to get co-investigator from Sri Lanka and will his electronic signature, etc. I think this is regarding
This is Pakistan.
Pakistan scientist is asking this. You will have to contact prospective Sri Lankan scientists and get their consent and develop your proposal, because we cannot match you with scientists from Sri Lanka. It will be very difficult for us to do that. But if you have to submit to PSF, so I guess the electronic signature would be okay, because here for our application we don't ask the Pakistani collaborator signatures. We just need their credentials only for our application. This must be also regarding the PSS side. We do not know actually their conditions, so we cannot answer this query regarding the word limit in the PSF side. Can one CRG accommodate 2 PhD students? That would depend on the type of your research.
If you have enough work to do 2 PhDs, then we will accept it. But you need to justify it. Both PhD students have separate enough work.
Yeah, because
PhDs.
If you are requesting a 2 PhD student, then you need a strong justification for that. Yes, if you make a request, we can. Also, it will be available in the YouTube, in our NSF YouTube.
Yeah.
So probably you can go to the YouTube and search NSF, and this has been streamed online at in the YouTube. Can an applicant apply from a state institution who wish to apply for a part-time PhD from government?
So, there is no any research grant for the part-time PhDs from NSF side. Our research scholarship also is a full-time PhD. And also, if you are going as a PhD student from the research, so you have discussed with your supervisor. But I'm sure that there's no provision for the part-time.
Next question, for ICRP grants, can we have collaborations with any other country, or it has to be Pakistan collaboration? This particular call that is open now is for Pakistan, Sri Lanka collaborations.
So that is only.
Yeah,
But once we open our ICRP general grant scheme, so you can have a partner from any other part of the world.
what is the possibility of obtaining this grant for a first-time fresh grant applicant? Doesn't it does
We are promoting fresh applicant because
okay.
yeah, we are doing some part researches also. Yeah, and also underrepresented universities also, because we need to promote them, so you can apply. We promote you. And also we have for the first time applicant, not only for this NSF, but first time applicant.
Yeah, if you are a first-time applicant, not just to NSF, a first timer to get a grant from any organization, then the budget limit would be 3 million, but that will exclude the personal vote. So 3 million plus the personal vote, you will get the budget. Second question, in the application guidelines, collaborative details have been mentioned. Is it mandatory? No, it is not mandatory to have a collaborator.
Yeah.
It can be the PI and a co-I, but only if you have a collaborator, then you need to fill that part. If not,
Yeah.
it's okay.
But we are promoting collaborations, yeah, participant collaborations.
I'm from Pakistan. I think we
Yeah,
answered
yeah.
this. Does this 3 million neutral status already answered? Yeah, I think we already answered this question. State applicants, they got answered already.
මට මේක අමතක වුණානේ අහන්න හිටපු වෙබිනාර් එකක අපරාධ නැගිටත් ගෙන අහන්න බැරි.
I'm a graduate with an honors degree in applied biology. I would like to know whether there are any guidelines or procedures for applying for MPhil grants, especially NSF grants. You can, if you want to do an MPhil degree, you can either go through our NSF research scholarship scheme. It is also open now, but you have to be already registered for that. So you
Yeah,
can.
actually, because now the class scheme is going to close on 18th May, but we are going to open the next call in most probably in August. So if you can't apply this one, so you can apply the next one. So we have two opportunities in here.
If we add MPhil or PhD student into the project, should they have to apply for no pay leave from their working organization? No, like if your student is working, if they are getting paid, then that's okay. They can still join, but it has to be full-time research. Then we will not be paying a stipend from our grant. They can take the salary from their own institution. But if they are getting no pay leave, then of course we can provide the stipend from the grant. How to get the co-investigator from Sri Lanka and does this? Yeah, this is also regarding the NSF-PSS joint call. Since this is a joint call, you have to have collaborators from both sides and submit to both sides, but we will not be able to help you out with finding a collaborator from Sri Lanka. Can an applicant apply from a state institution who wish to apply for part-time PR? We reply to that. This participant is asking what's the acceptance rate possibility of securing a competitive research grant for a theoretical research work?
Actually, we don't separate the theoretical and that is the basic and applied. If the proposal is sound enough to select to the, we will consider it. And normally our acceptance rate is nearly 20%. For the all. For all.
Out of that, about 30% is basic.
Yeah. Out of that total awarded grant, 30% is for the basic theoretical grants. So therefore, this time you do take our grant.
There is no NID number for the available equipments in the faculty. Is it okay?
Yeah, actually, at the moment, if you do not have this, okay, but you can contact us. So that we have a national instrument database and we are promoting you to submit your all equipment to the system. You can submit all equipment to the system, then you can take the NID number. So that you can contact us separately. We will help you how to upload your equipment to the NID and get the NID number.
Under the NSF-PSF call, do staff exchange activities be eligible for funding?
So at the moment, that is not possible because there is one government circle is prohibiting use government money to have foreign tours, so that we are not allowing foreign travels through our grant scheme at the moment.
Does the co-investigator have to apply separate application for the NSF? Not clear what is.
Yeah, there is no separate application from the foreign investigator. The principal investigator will send us a proposal, that application. The co-investigator is also part of that. So we will your details into that, and ultimately you need to give your signature to the proposal. So only one application from one research.
Can a co-investigator from Sri Lanka be from other than a university if I apply to PSF? This is also for PS the joint call. Yeah, the Sri Lankan Institute, the Sri Lankan researcher cannot be from a university.
Yeah.
They can be from a research institute.
Yeah.
It's okay. Only thing, if it is not a state organization, their organization will have to bear 30%. So industry person can also be a Sri Lankan collaborator. Can we get a grant if we do a DBA from foreign university?
No, at the moment we are giving our research scholarship for only the students who are following their PhDs or MPhils within the country.
Please share recording. You can go to NSF YouTube and then you
It will request separately.
The NSF for permit ethical clearance to be obtained during the project implementation. Yes, at the time of application. No, maybe it might be difficult for you to submit at the time of the application, but within 1 or 2 months you must submit ethical clearance. Otherwise, your application will not go through with the whole new process if you are not submitting the ethical clearance. The last one, I think. This is also regarding the NSF PSF. Do we have to apply 2 applications from each side? One from NSF and the other. You have to, the Sri Lankan scientist, you have to submit to NSF.
Already the application. Sri Lankan side. Pakistan Science Foundation, Pakistan application. No need to both apply into one institute.
Are there any other questions? So for all the grants, is it a must for both PI and POI to have at least MSc by research?
So for all grants means if it's a computer research grant, international research program, so we have it is must. But if you are applying for the technology development grant or startup grant, you no need to have MSc, PhD, or any other education qualification. We are not checking any education qualification. Only thing is that you should be a Sri Lankan citizen and citizen in Sri Lanka can apply to those 2 grants.
Yeah, but and also now if you don't have a MSc by research, MSc and plus publications or whatever, then you can come in as a collaborator. Even in the CRG or the ICRP, you can always come in as a collaborator if you don't have the postgraduate qualifications. If there are, then you can come in as a collaborator. Even in the CRG or the ICRP, you can always come in as a collaborator.
Hello, can I come in?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
I'm Professor Jagat. I'm going to collaborate with the NSF and PSF grant. I am coming as a co-investigator from Sri Lanka, but other party from Pakistan, they are coming as a PI, principal investigator. So do I have to apply as a separate application as a co-investigator in Sri Lanka, from Sri Lanka?
No, it's like this. Now, the Sri Lankan component must have a PI. So this will be like 4 PIs. Like from Sri Lanka also there must be a PI. For the Pakistan side there will be a PI. The proposal will be joint, but because some components will have joint activities and all that, but there must be a PI from Sri Lanka, must be a PI from Pakistan.
Okay,
So,
thank you very much. Yeah. That is clear. Thank you.
yeah, if you go to the chat, the record, there is the link is given for the recording on the YouTube. You can access that. Go to the chat now and you can access this link to get the recording. Another question, can we have more than 3 investigators or do they come and collaborate? No. As I mentioned this earlier, if you have, we have just given 3 slots for the co-investigators. At the end there, I have mentioned that if you have any more co-investigators, to repeat the above section, so you can add any number of co-investigators. We do not have a limit to the number of co-investigators. You can add any number. You just have to repeat the same information
and we are promoting the collaborations.
Yeah, we would like to see more collaborative research, like researchers from the different departments, different faculties, different universities or different institutions in your research grant would make it more multidisciplinary, and we really encourage that.
Yeah.
For anybody asking for the recording, go to the chat almost towards the end of the chat. We have given the YouTube channel link. You can access that.
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Madam, is it necessary to submit NID number for the available equipments in the faculty? That you are asking in the application NID number.
No, actually, if you are mention any equipment, use NID number. To get the NID number, your equipment should be registered in National Instrument Database. So that is a platform maintained by National Science Foundation to enter all the research equipment in our platform. So if you have not add your equipment at the moment to the National Instrument Database, you can add it now. It's not a lengthy process. Within half an hour, you can do that one. If you need further instruction or assistance from us, you can separately contact us. You can contact Engineer Sureshini Varnasuriya through our general number. She will support you, or you can send us an email so that we will support you to get that one.
Yeah, and
If it is not the research equipment or already available in the faculty, used one.
That place where we ask for, like, now when you are conducting a research, you need specific equipment to conduct the research. So you have to show that you have the access or the availability of those equipment within your department or the faculty or with your co-investigators or collaborators institutions. You must show that you have access to the necessary equipment for the research. That is why you need to mention the major equipment, not the minor equipment, not all equipment. Only the major equipment you have to mention in that table. Now, the reason we ask for the NID reference number is because we want to promote you to upload all the equipment details into the National Instrument Database. That is the reason that we ask you to provide the NID number. So each university has a what we call
that is the manager. Instrument manager and the laboratory officer.
So you can either get assistance from them or contact us. But what you have to mention is the major equipment that you need to conduct a research.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Even without NID number, you can do the instrument to the application. So later we will support you to add that one to the system. That is no problem. NID number is not a mandatory one.
So now, if there are no more questions, we can conclude this session. Are there any more questions? It seems not. So we will conclude this session. I would like to thank the chairman of NSF, the Director General, and the Additional Director General for their support in conducting all these programs and our grant schemes. I would also like to thank the head of the research station and staff of the research station for their support. And a special word of thanks to the IT manager and the staff in the IT unit in facilitating this webinar. Now, let's hope. And also to all the participants that joined this session, I hope you gain some knowledge of our grant schemes, and we hope to see many applications for this two course. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Course. Thank you.
Thank you very much.